Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Nerdy Movie News Roundup, the show where we round up all of the latest news in the world of nerdy movies. Yeah, we've got some interesting stuff to talk about today. Some Superman Legacy casting, which is definitely going to be interesting. So let's just get right into it. That's crazy because I didn't properly set this up. Can you believe that? You probably can because I suck at my job. Here we go. There we go. Okay. Yeah, so here we have a trailer for Spoderman Across the Spoderverse. The third trailer. I thought this trailer was decent. I think it wasn't nearly as good as the second or as the first two trailers. I think the first two trailers carried a lot more emotionality to it. This one didn't quite hit that emotional gut punch that I think the first two trailers hit, but I mean, either way, I mean, it's decent for sure. A lot of these trailers do seem to be very similar in that they show what seems to be like near the beginning of the movie, sort of setting up Miles and his parents not being trusting of one another, and the sort of that initial confrontation with the Spot, and then they get into like the Council of Spider-Man. And not much else is really shown of the movie, which I think is interesting. So yeah, we'll have to wait until what the movie ends up being like once we watch it. I anticipate it will probably be good. I know, hot take. But anyways, let's get into the first story. All right, first up, looks like Mia Goth might be playing the villain in Blade. So we'll start reading from here. According to insider Daniel Richtman, Mia Goth, who joined the cast of the Marvel Cinematic Universe movie in April of 2023, will play Lilith. In a string of Patreon posts, Richtman wrote that Aaron Pierre Old was no longer part of the cast and his characters were removed from the current script, making Goth's Lilith the main villain for Mahershala Ali's Blade. Goth's star has been rising ever since playing the dual roles of Maxine Minx and Pearl in Ty West's acclaimed slasher film X. She reprised the latter role in the prequel film Pearl, and will return as Maxine in the upcoming film Maxine, which will close out the X trilogy. So, interesting. Then we can read a little bit about about who Lilith is. So it says here that there have been two versions of a Lilith. One of them was the daughter of Dracula, and one of them was just a sorceress. The person who wrote the article assumes that she's probably going to play the daughter of Dracula because it's Blade, and Blade fights vampires. I think that's some pretty cogent reasoning myself personally. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. All right, next story. Krypto is apparently going to be in Superman Legacy, I think. Yeah, we can watch this little video here.
She was Krypto,
The
super dog. But you have to be like Maria, and you have to do motion capture on set and walk around your hands and knees.
I'll do Krypto, but you have to pay me in Krypto.
He can't talk.
Oh, great.
I'll pay you in Krypto, which amounts to $0.
Great. Perfect. I'll do it. But how many? $0, but I want 1 million of them.
I'll give you $1 million, $0.
Oh, no, 2 million. You're watching my negotiation tactics. I'll do it. So it sounds like there's going to be a character called Krypto in Superman. Breaking news.
That's a scoop for me.
Yeah, it is a scoop, I guess.
Yeah, way to go.
Yeah, so that's interesting because throughout the first bit of that, I was kind of like, this is just a joke. Is Chris Pratt just kind of pulling this out of his ass or whatever? But then when the guy doing the interview was like, "Oh, this is a scoop for me," blah. And then James Gunn kind of went, "Oh yeah, I guess this is a scoop." I don't know. That then kind of told me that it probably is accurate. So as of right now, I mean, James Gunn has explicitly stated that Krypto is going to be in Superman Legacy, and so I'm just going to take it as that. I think that's pretty cool. I don't have that much of an affinity for Krypto the super dog. Like, I don't have that much experience with the character. I say character, he's a fucking dog. But, I mean, hey, listen, dogs are cool. I like dogs. More dogs in media is a good thing, I guess. So, yeah, I've weirdly seen, like, backlash to it of, like, oh, James Gunn always has animals in his things. It's like, and? What, like Rocket Raccoon is the best character in the MCU. Eagly was great in Peacemaker. It's like, who cares? Why is that a thing that you're... Why are you beefing with animals? I don't know. Kind of weird. But either way, next story. Daredevil Born Again. production suspended after striking writers picket Disney Plus series. So we'll start reading here. WGA members on strike set up a sunrise picket at Silver Cup East, where they're supposed to be filming Daredevil, but members of the Teamsters Local 817 in IATSE, Locals 829 and 52 are refusing to cross the picket line. So yeah, basically, there's some more stuff here, but basically they targeted Daredevil. I think it also says down here that they targeted other shows. Does it not say it somewhere here? Oh yeah, so this is the latest New York-based TV production to be disrupted by picketing writers. It joins Billions, Evil, and Severance, among others. So from what I've been able to gather about this is that it's not like it's not like Daredevil is still being the production of it is still being suspended. I think mostly these picketers target like different shows every time they do it, so that they're not like completely disrupting the production on the show, but they're more so like inconveniencing them, right? Obviously trying to get the producers to come back to the table and negotiate more. So I think it's fair game. You know, I think that it's fair for the strikers to get the conversation back on track. So yeah, hopefully that all gets resolved. And yeah, obviously, if you're like, the writers disrupted Daredevil, blah, I want Daredevil, they can't disrupt Daredevil. If that's you, I think you're silly, but whatever, who cares? I don't care. Let's move on. All right, Jonathan Majors, what's going on with him? So apparently he appeared virtually in court. We'll start reading here. Jonathan Majors appeared virtually in New York criminal court on Tuesday for a status conference in connection with assault and harassment charges. Oh, jeez, I'm sorry. As the DA introduced new details in the complaint, which the actor's attorney alleged was a part of a witch hunt against Majors. The Marvel actor was arrested on March 25th in New York. Okay, well, this then just goes on to talk about what we already know. Yeah, so it seems like this case is not going to be dropped, and it seems like it is going to go through, so we are going to have seems like we're going to have a Johnny Depp-esque media circus surrounding this trial. So, yeah, we'll just have to wait and see what happens here. Hopefully truth prevails or whatever. But yeah, nothing much happened here other than, yeah, the process is starting to go through. All right, next story. Andor also ceased. I don't even know what I'm saying. Andor, the Tony Gilroy apparently is no longer working on Andor season 2. Andor creator and showrunner Tony Gilroy has ceased all producing services on the Star Wars series amid the Writers Guild of America's (WGA) ongoing strike against AMPTP. Starting here in a statement to the Hollywood Reporter, Gilroy responded to criticism he received from a fellow WGA member for continuing to perform non-writing duties on Disney Plus's Andor during the strike. Gilroy says he has not been on the Star Wars show set since the strike began on May 2nd. I discontinued all writing and writing-related work on Andor prior to midnight, May 1st, Gilroy's statement read. After being briefed on the Saturday showrunner meeting, I informed Chris Kaiser at the WGA on Sunday morning that I would also be ceasing all non-writing producing functions. Kaiser confirmed to THR that said conversation indeed took place. Meanwhile, Lucasfilm, Andor's production company, declined to comment on the matter. So, yeah, it seems like Tony Gilroy is not only not writing, but he's ceasing all producing duties. I mean, obviously, it's probably fair for him to take a stand wherever he sees fit. Obviously, as a fan, as Andor being, like, the best Star Wars thing that Disney's ever done. Sure, like I understand that sort of initial sort of a feeling of, oh no, is Andor gonna be bad now? Well, they're gonna ruin Andor. Like, sure, that I get those feelings as well. But I mean, listen, in times of strike, writers are obviously gonna want to show solidarity. So hey, gotta respect it. But yeah, for now we'll move on to the next story. So the John Wick director had something to say in regards to another John Wick movie. So I'll read to here. Per the direct, Stahelski discussed the overwhelming request from fans for another mainline entry into the John Wick franchise, with the director explaining why he was approaching the topic with such caution. Look, I mean this in a good way. It's a business, Stahelski said. When you have something successful, yeah, of course you want to keep doing it, but it's very easy to be repetitive. The trick is how you be repetitive with individuality. How do you put your authorship or your agency into something that's obviously been done 3 times before? So yeah, I mean, not too much information was given here, but you know, I think it's good that they're kind of approaching it with the idea of going, hey, we acknowledge that the John Wick franchise is insanely successful, but we also don't just want to make any movie and come back just for the sake of making more money. We do want to have some sort of artistic integrity. So I mean, I can respect that, but obviously, yeah, I would totally watch another John Wick movie. But yeah, if it comes in a few years, I think that's totally cool and respectable and whatnot. So, all right, let's. Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about this. I thought this was interesting. So, I totally forgot. I probably knew this, but I forgot that Kyoshi was going to be in the Netflix Avatar show. But oh yeah, I'm sorry. No, I knew that Kyoshi was gonna be in the show. But reading the actress's word or quote here, it seems like she's going to have a decent role here. So we'll read this. Speaking with Cliché Magazine, as reported by Avatar News, actor Yvonne Chapman, who is playing Avatar Kyoshi, explained how her character will serve as a source of tough love for Aang. She stated, "She sometimes has a different perspective from the other avatars. She's a very fierce person, and she's going to be able to guide Aang in what needs to be done in his circumstances. Kyoshi is going to be able to give Aang the advice he needs to hear at the time he needs to hear it." So, I mean, the fact that she's saying that Avatar Kyoshi is going to have like a relationship with Aang makes me wonder if Avatar Kyoshi is going to like play a somewhat prominent role. I don't know, but I find that quote to be very interesting. But yeah, I don't know. There's not much to it, but I want to know what you think about that. Like, is Avatar Kyoshi gonna be like come in as a Force ghost like a decent amount of times throughout the show? Because I think she only appeared as a Force ghost like once in the animated series, if I'm not mistaken. So it's like she didn't have much of a relationship per se with Aang. But we'll wait and see. All right, next up, Hollow Knight. Not really. Normally I don't talk about video games as much, but this is saddening to me. Whatever. So this is one of the developers from Team Cherry that made Hollow Knight. Hey gang, just a quick update about Silksong. We had planned to release in the first half of 2023, but development is still continuing. We're excited by how the game is shaping up, and it's gotten quite big, so we want to take the time to make the game as good as we can. Expect more details from us once we get closer to release. Not cool, bro. I want to play this game right now. So I do not take this excuse lightly, okay? I am going to not actually harass you or do anything because I do definitely understand that y'all are working hard and, of course, take as much time as you need to just make the game. But yeah, honestly, this totally is just like, I remember they announced back in like the last Xbox showcase where they were like, all the games shown today are going to release within the next like calendar year or whatever. And then like so many games got delayed past that year end point. So like Starfield and Silksong and whatever. And it's like, okay, you guys should probably never do that again. Like never make the promise that like all of these games are going to come in a certain time frame, because yeah, the egg on Microsoft's face. But either way, that's gaming stuff. You might not care, but either way, I want to talk about Hollow Knight because I love Hollow Knight. I don't really want to play Silksong, but obviously, developers, take your time, make the game as best you can, and whatever. All right, next story. Okay, we got some information on potential casting for Superman Legacy. All right, we'll start reading here. Casting for Superman Legacy, the feature that is meant to kick off Gunn and Peter Safran's much-vaunted first chapter of DC Studios, is hitting a crucial phase with a short list of names bubbling up for the roles of Clark Kent, Lois Lane, and even Lex Luthor. David Cornswet, who recently played the ill-fated projectionist opposite Mia Goth and Pearl, is among the top contenders to play Kent. Advancing to the screen test stage that will likely take place after Memorial Day on early June. Multiple sources tell The Hollywood Reporter. 2 other contenders may also be in the mix, but their identities remain unknown. Jacob Elordi, the sought-after star who broke out as the resident villain on HBO series Euphoria, is a name that surfaced for the role of Kent, but sources say he never submitted himself into the ring. British actors Tom Brittney and Andrew Richardson are also names that were in the early mix. As for Lane, the spunky reporter at Metropolis's Daily Planet news organization, contenders have been Emma Mackey, one of the stars of the Netflix series Sex Education, Rachel Brosnan, the Emmy-winning star of Amazon's acclaimed The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Bridgerton actress Phoebe Dynevor, and Samara Weaving, last seen in Scream 6. It is unclear who is advancing onto the testing stage. Brosnan is said to deliver an astounding audition, but at 32 may be in the older range for what Gunn is ultimately hoping to achieve. A look at Metropolis heroics via 20-something characters. Sources caution that some of these are not screen testing and have merely been in the mix. One source, without providing additional detail, dismissed some of the names as a chat room list. Warner's had no comment, and one insider said the filmmakers and studio are nowhere near decision. One role that seems to have only one person earmarked is the classic villain Luther. Nicholas Hoult, currently starring in vampire thriller Renfield, has been tipped to play the bald-headed evil genius. Holt's name has been swirling around Legacy for several weeks now, with some theorizing he was up for Superman. The actor had a previous close call with the DC movie realm when he the runner-up to play Batman for Matt Reeves, with the role going to Robert Pattinson. Yeah, so interesting. So it seems like the guy that has the most momentum is this guy. What was his name? David Cornswet. I mean, he didn't have that big of a role in Pearl, but I mean, he was good in that, so he's a good actor, so whatever, I could see him as Superman. I really like The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, and I could see Rachel Brosnahan. She's the girl here on the right. I could see her, but they are right in that she might be a bit too old. Let me see. Let's just assume it's David Cornswet or whatever. David Cornswet. I mean, he's 29. I think Rachel Brosnahan is, Rachel Brosnahan. She's 32. I mean, that's honestly not that bad. Yeah, that's really not that big of a stretch. Yeah, I could see her. I think she's great in Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Even in that show, I think she has sort of that confidence and that spunk to be a Lois Lane. I could totally see that. So, of these choices here, I'm not as familiar with like Samara Weaving or Phoebe Dynevor, let's see what she looks like. Phoebe, am I even Dynevor? No, stop. Phoebe, I already forgot the spelling. Is it gonna show up? There we go. Phoebe Dynevor. Sure, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, she's 28. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think 32 and 29 is that big of a deal. Let's see, who else was up for playing Superman? Jacob Elordi is a possibility. Let's see, how old is that dude? 25. So this guy's on the younger end. So yeah, that with Jacob Elordi and Rachel Brosnahan, that might be a bit of a stretch, admittedly. But hey, Clark Kent might be an older ladies. It's possible. Let's see, who else? Yeah. Well, they said that somebody was theorizing that Nicholas Hoult might be Superman. So let's see, how old is he again? He is 33. Okay, so Hey, listen. Nicholas Hoult and Rachel Brosnahan, I mean, that might be her perfect pair potentially. I've seen a lot of people knocking the Nicholas Hoult choice for Superman. I just think people need to remember that, like, listen, Michael Keaton got shit for being Superman, then people loved him. Ben Affleck got shit for being Batman, people loved him. I think I said Superman before. Obviously, I know Michael Keaton played Batman. Shut up. Ben Affleck got shit. Robert Pattinson got shit, and they were all generally pretty good. If James Gunn thinks that Nicholas Hoult would fit his vision, I'm sure he would fit his vision. I think he'd probably be fine. But yeah, it seems like most of the momentum is going towards. Sorry, what was his name again? David Carnsweat, that dude. And then it seems like, I mean, according to this article here, it seems like the only person being rumored at the moment is Nicholas Hoult for Lex Luthor. Which, I mean, yeah, he'd probably be fine as Lex Luthor too. Let's see, what Nicholas Hoult bald. I think I'm still live, but my monitor just went out. I think I'm still live though, so see if I can get that back up. Okay, there we go. My bad. Okay, ooh, that was scary. Okay, Nicholas Hoult bald, because that's obviously the most important thing here. All right, okay, he looks okay. I mean, you know, I think he still looks good bald, so that's the most important thing, obviously. But yeah, well, we'll have to wait and see what happens with these castings. Honestly, I'm not somebody that gets too invested in castings. If you're a good actor, you're probably going to be fine in the role. That's my perspective. So we'll just have to wait and see. I think James Gunn said something interesting here. Oh, for all of you asking, I would never comment on who is or isn't auditioning for a role. That's the actor's business only, and isn't something I'd like to make public. Unless they did it first after the fact, like Glenn Howerton or Zachary Levi, having auditioned for Star-Lord and being top choices. For now, only one person has been cast in Superman Legacy, and it isn't any of the regular players in the Superman world. Oh yeah, so, weird. So, he said this, right? It isn't any of the regular players in the Superman world, and then he puts a little mermaid emoji. Is he referencing Aquaman? I would assume so. Oh yeah, and then I had another article saved here. Or did I not? Oh shoot. There was an article. Is it in here? It might be. Hold on. I'm so sorry. I should have been better prepared here. Where did I have that? Where did I have that? Oh yeah, I guess we can talk about this now. Yeah, apparently Lex Luthor might be black. This is a new report from The Wrap that's kind of contradicting what the Hollywood Reporter said. But apparently, according to The Wrap, they're mainly auditioning black actors for Lex Luthor. So yeah, it should be noted that as of right now, there's conflicting reports between the Hollywood Reporter, who's saying that Nicholas Hoult is like the only guy that they're auditioning that they've heard about yet. And then The Wrap is completely contradicting that by saying not only are there more people auditioning for Lex Luthor, they're black guys. So who knows? And also apparently this Lex Luthor might have superpowers. We'll have to wait and see. But I'm trying to find the article. There was an article that talked about how the movie might have more people in the world that isn't Superman, like more superheroes. Bro, I thought I said okay, whatever. Either way, we can go back to the tweet and just confirm here that James Gunn is obviously teasing like Aquaman here at least. So, yeah, that makes me think of like, maybe Superman Legacy will have more characters in it, like Aquaman or Batman or Wonder Woman. Like, we could possibly end up seeing these people in Superman Legacy. So yeah, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. I could have sworn I had an article saved that also went into that, but I'm unprofessional. Either way, who cares? I don't. Vin Diesel's talking crazy, so about Fast X Trilogy. We'll just read this here. Speaking of Variety, Diesel seemed to confirm that Fast X will no longer be part one of the franchise's two-part finale. Rather than Fast and Furious 11 wrapping up the series, a 12th movie will be coming to theaters. Going into making this movie, the studio asked if this could be a two-parter, Diesel said. And after the studio saw this one, they said, could you make the finale a trilogy? Michelle Rodriguez chimed in saying, it's 3 acts in any story, seemingly backing up Diesel's claim of a trilogy. When Diesel was asked if he was confirming a 12th Fast and Furious movie, however, he replied, you're going to get me in trouble here. I don't. I mean, obviously the Fast and the Furious franchise is silly and doesn't really mean anything. But it's like, you really can't wrap up your story in two movies? Do you really need a third one? Okay, but hold on. Let me actually restart my camera here. I'll be back in a second. All right, we're back. Vin Diesel, you're a silly goose, but I appreciate you. All right. Nintendo kind of annoying me here because it's like, who do you think we are? What do you think I am, an idiot? I mean, I am an idiot, but I'm not that big of an idiot. Let's just read here. So Aonuma, the producer of Breath of the Wild, had this to say. During an interview with Polygon to promote Tears of the Kingdom, Aonuma and Fujibayashi were asked if there was if there was interest at Nintendo in adapting The Legend of Zelda to film. I am interested for sure, said Aonuma, but it's not just me being interested in something that makes things happen. Unfortunately, though the Super Mario Bros. Movie has dominated the global box office for over a month now, Nintendo CEO Shintaro Furukawa recently shared in an investors call that the company isn't looking to rush into any new film projects based on Nintendo characters. However, Fujibayashi shared that the voices of the fans are what's important here, and that if they make enough noise, they could convince Nintendo to move forward with the Legend of Zelda movie. Nintendo, what do you think I am? What do you think we are? Do you really expect us to not understand that a Legend of Zelda movie is obviously the next thing that you're going to do? I mean, maybe a Mario Brothers movie 2 is going to come before that. But obviously, the Legend of Zelda movie's happening. Stop gaslighting us into thinking that that's not going to happen. Okay, stop it. Stop being silly. Okay, I think they watch that and I think they understand. So for now, we'll move on. Okay, last story of the day actually. So they released a free prequel comic for Spider-Man 2, the video game. And I don't want to spoil it necessarily, but I guess this is a slight spoiler warning if you really don't want to know anything about it, but I think they teased something kind of interesting that I think could maybe point to where this game might go. So if you don't want to know anything, then I salute you. The show's going to be over after this, so you can just leave. But if you don't care or you're not going to read a fucking prequel comic, totally understand. I'll just spoil this one thing here. They talk about magic in it. I'm not going to confirm whether or not there actually was magic in the comic book, but they kind of allude to it, and I just think that that's a very interesting angle to go towards because it makes me wonder: could magic itself play kind of a prominent role in Spider-Man 2? Like, is that what they're teasing here? It's interesting because another thing that they talk about in the comic is like Peter not knowing or necessarily believing that magic is real, which I do find interesting because it's like we saw the Sanctum Sanctorum in the first game, and it's like, is Doctor Strange not a prominent character in this universe? Is it really a stretch for you to question whether or not magic is real? But by the way, I don't want to spoil it too much. I just want to bring that up because I think it'll be interesting to see if magic plays a role. Maybe Kraven is going to have some magical elements to it. Like I remember in Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions, Craven had like a magic talisman that made him a threat. But anyways, we'll just have to wait and see what happens there. Well, that's it for the show today. It's all the topics that we have. I guess I will just mention that I have been playing The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Really enjoying it so far. It is, in fact, more Breath of the Wild, and I am totally A-okay with that. I've mostly just been dicking around the world. I haven't really done any proper quests, aside from, like, getting out of the tutorial area. I haven't really done much as far as the main story goes, but I've been having a really great time dicking around with the world, dicking around with the mechanics. Pause. I should probably stop saying dicking around so much. Or say it more. Subscribe to see how that develops. Bye.